freedom will be defended.
All right.
I want to reassure the American people that the full resources of the federal government are working to assist local authorities to save lives and to help the victims of these attacks. Make no mistake, the United States will hunt down and punish those responsible for these cowardly acts. I've been in regular contact with the Vice President, Secretary of Defense, the National Security Team, and my cabinet. We have taken all appropriate security precautions to protect the American people. Our military at home and around the world is on high alert status, and we have taken the necessary security precautions to continue the functions of your government. We have been in touch with the leaders of Congress and with world leaders to assure them that we will do whatever is necessary to protect America and Americans. I ask the American people to join me in saying a thanks for all the folks who have been fighting hard to rescue our fellow citizens, and to join me in saying a prayer for the victims and their families. The resolve of our great nation is being tested, but make no mistake, we will show the world that we will pass this test. God bless. Our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes or in their offices, secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing, have filled us with disbelief, terrible sadness, and a quiet, unyielding anger. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shattered steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve. America was targeted for attack because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world, and no one will keep that light from shining. Today, our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature, and we responded with the best of America, with the daring of our rescue workers, with the caring for strangers and neighbors who came to give blood and help in any way they could. Immediately following the first attack, I implemented our government's emergency response plans. Our military is powerful, and it's prepared. Our emergency teams are working in New York City and Washington, D.C. to help with local rescue efforts. Our first priority is to get help to those who have been injured and to take every precaution to protect our citizens at home and around the world from further attacks. The functions of our government continue without interruption. Federal agencies in Washington, which had to be evacuated today, are reopening for essential personnel tonight and will be open for business tomorrow. Our financial institutions remain strong, and the American economy will be open for business as well. The search is underway for those who are behind these evil acts. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them. I appreciate so very much the members of Congress who have joined me in strongly condemning these attacks. And on behalf of the American people, I thank the many world leaders who have called to offer their condolences and assistance. America and our friends and allies join with all those who want peace and security in the world, and we stand together to win the war against terrorism. Tonight I ask for your prayers for all those who grieve, for the children whose worlds have been shattered, for all whose sense of safety and security has been threatened. And I pray they will be comforted by a power greater than any of us, spoken through the ages in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. This is a day when all Americans from every walk of life unite in our resolve for justice and peace. America has stood down enemies before, and we will do so this time. None of us will ever forget this day, yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world. Thank you, good night, and God bless America. We have entered a new era, and this new era requires new responsibilities both for the government and for our people. The government has a responsibility to protect our citizens, and that starts with homeland security. The first attack against America came by plane, and we are now making our airports and airplanes safer. We have posted the National Guard in America's airports and placed undercover air marshals on many flights. I call on Congress to quickly send me legislation that makes cockpits more secure, baggage screening more thorough, and puts the federal government in charge of all airport screening and security. And therefore I defy and defeat the terrorists. Our great national challenge is to hunt down the terrorists and strengthen our protection against future attacks. Our great national opportunity is to preserve forever the good that has resulted. Through this tragedy, we are renewing and reclaiming our strong American values. We cannot know every turn this battle will take, yet we know our cause is just and our ultimate victory is assured. We will no doubt face new challenges, but we have our marching orders. My fellow Americans, let's roll. Of reserve and guard troops. This is a different type of enemy than we're used to. It's an enemy that likes to hide and burrow in, and their network is extensive. There's no rules. It's barbaric behavior. They slit throats of women on airplanes in order to achieve an objective that is beyond comprehension. And they like to hit, and then they like to hide out. But we're going to smoke them out. And we're adjusting our thinking to the new type of enemy. These are terrorists that have no borders. And by the way, it's important for the world to understand that we know in America that more than just Americans suffered loss of life in the World Trade Center. People from all kinds of nationalities lost life. That's why the world is rallying to our call to defeat terrorism. Many world leaders understand that the attack could have easily happened on their land. I want justice. And there's an old poster out west, as I recall, that said "Wanted, dead or alive." I think that this is a long-term battle, war. There'll be battles, but this is long-term. We're, after all, our mission is not just Osama bin Laden, the Al-Qaeda organization. Our mission is to battle terrorism and to join with freedom-loving people. We are putting together a coalition that is a coalition dedicated to declaring to the world, we will do what it takes to find the terrorists, to rout them out, and to hold them accountable. And the United States is proud to lead the coalition.
Are you saying you want him dead or alive, sir?
I just remember, all I'm doing is remembering when I was a kid. I remember that they used to put out there in the Old West a wanted poster. It said, wanted, dead or alive. All I want, America wants him brought to justice. That's what we want.
Why is that?
For certain.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you. I'm serious about the Defense Department. But I want to tell you all that we're just beginning. That I see this as a unique moment in history. And this nation must seize the moment. And it's this. Either we defend freedom so that our children and grandchildren can grow up in a peaceful world, or we blink. And if we blink, the rest of the world will blink as well. I don't believe we have that luxury. I believe we must find terror wherever it hides and bring it to justice. And so the Afghan theater is the first theater in the war against terror. There's a lot of focus on one individual in this war on terror, but this is much bigger than one person. Oh, the guy, he can hide and he can run, but there's no cave deep enough for the arm of justice of the American people. And it's just a matter of time. I have no artificial deadlines. I really don't care if it's tomorrow or a month from now or a year or a couple of years. But Mr. bin Laden is going to meet his fate. And in the meantime, the United States of America will continue to rally our coalition, to continue to cut off money from terrorist organizations, continue to share intelligence so we can react better, continue to defend our homeland, and continue to insist that freedom-loving nations find, incarcerate, and bring to justice anybody who would harm America, our allies, and our friends. Our future together can come not only across borders, but from violence that gathers within. I come without explanations or solutions. I can only tell you what I've seen. To be collateral damage in a spectacular act of terror elected by fate.